So here is this body scan on Thursday, June 4th. This week of thematically here in the studio is grace. And perhaps as we are on the tail end of the 5 days of the week, the weekdays, what is it to notice perhaps as we invite the body to settle? Where has grace shown up for you this week? And perhaps noticing where grace has not shown up for you this week. So often these invitations will be like noticing where there's ease and all that is noticed is tension. So in this moment, noticing where grace may have been, where grace may have not been, and perhaps setting an intention for this particular practice of the body scan to just offer yourself grace. There can never be too much, in my opinion. Body scans often done lying down. You could do this in any posture that allows you to remain alert and awake. Practicing with either the eyes open or eyes closed as per your own support. Perhaps it's more supportive to open, to practice with the eyes open, the soft gaze, taking in the periphery as well as light and shadow, shapes and colors. Or perhaps practicing with the eyes closed allows sensations from the interior of the body to be more in the forefront. Here too, maybe seeing shapes, colors, light and shadow. The fullness of this body is present here. And this practice of the body scan is just an invitation to notice this present moment through the experience of this body here and now. Noticing the length of this body, the width, the depth of the body. Noticing where your attention may be. There's no need to judge where the attention is. Is it to offer oneself, offer one's own attention, a bit of grace? You want to run around? Go for it. Knock yourself out. And does the attention want to settle? Absolutely. Invite it in when it's ready to settle. No pushing, no pulling. Inviting that attention to be with the body. And inviting that attention down through the body, down through the pelvis, down through the upper legs, down through the knees, down through the lower legs, down through the ankles, through the heels, through the arches of the feet, to the tips of the baby toes. Noticing what you notice, if anything, and sensation here in the baby toes. Maybe there's not a lot of sensation here. Maybe there's tingling, there's pulsation. Maybe as you invite the attention to be with, sensation feels like it's growing. Here is some sensation. There's no need to curate or fix anything. The practice is in the noticing. that paradox, that noticing nothing is noticing something. Perhaps there's sensation present in the other length of the toes. Perhaps certain toes have more sensation than others, perhaps not. Just noticing what you notice before inviting the attention to move along the bottoms of the feet, the soles of the feet, noticing tension or ease in the muscles of the arches, and pressure or lightness where the heels are meeting support. Noticing what parts of the feet are feeling that pressure along the full length of both the left and right feet. And inviting a shift from the attention from the feet to the ankles. Perhaps there's a sense of gathering or releasing here, sense of temperature. A touch of a sock, perhaps, or a breeze. Before shifting the attention to the lower legs. That distance between the ankles and the knees. The fullness of the calf muscles. Before shifting to the knees, listening in on what the knees may have to say today, in this moment. A sense of the tendons on either side of the knees, perhaps a sense of the underneath one's kneecaps, and the softer backs of the knees. All of this may be experiencing sensation. And before shifting the attention from the knees to the upper legs, the length of the bones of the upper legs. And the muscles surrounding that bone. Perhaps a sense of the weight of those muscles. Before sensing into the hip joints. Perhaps there's a sense of these hip joints, the distance between the two hip joints, expanding and contracting in response to the breath. Perhaps there's not a lot of sensation here in the joints themselves. Or shifting the attention from the hip joints to the pelvis. Noticing how the pelvis may be gathering and releasing itself in response to the breath. One's tailbone could uncurl a bit. And if you invite that tailbone to uncurl a bit, just noticing what you notice in sensation, perhaps in emotion, thought. Sensations, emotions, and thoughts are here, much like the temperature. What is it to notice them? Notice this present moment. Before shifting the attention from the pelvis to the muscles behind the belly button. How these muscles have particular distance between themselves and the tailbone, perhaps. And how that distance gently ebbs and flows in response to the breath. And the sides of the body here, the low torso, may be involved with this dance of the respiratory system. Coming to the low back, on the back of the body here. And perhaps these muscles too, contracting and expanding on either side of the low spine, along with the respiratory system. Noticing the interior of the body here, that distance between the front of the body and the back of the body here and the lower torso. And just practicing noticing without judgment. What's here now? Before inviting the attention in the mind's eye higher up on the spine, up to the mid spine, this curve of the thoracic spine. Noticing perhaps if this area of the spine feels like one solid unit, or perhaps there's a bit of a ripple in the inhale and exhale. As this area of the spine curves away from the front of the body. The ribs, each set connects to this area of the spine, reaching out from the spine to the sides of the body, coming around to embrace the upper chest, connecting, most of them connecting to the breastbone, the sternum. These ribs rise and fall with the inhale, with the exhale. Noticing what you notice here with the ribs as they rise and fall. It's noticing the interior of the rib cage, organs of the lungs, the heart, circulation. Even the very top ribs, just underneath the collarbones, in front of the shoulder blades, rise and fall, just like the very bottom ribs. Perhaps this is sensed, perhaps it's quite subtle. No one way to be, of course. Shifting from this experience of the ribs, perhaps, to noticing the shoulders. The shoulders and the muscles of the shoulders have a particular weight. Perhaps there's a habit of holding here, perhaps inviting the attention to the shoulders. We notice tension or ease. And perhaps we notice when tension is encountered, a habit of, I must let go. That habit isn't necessarily a bad thing, but what is it to just let things be as they are? Noticing change of its own accord. As you invite the attention to notice that distance between the outside of the left shoulder and the outside of the right shoulder. Tension or ease across collarbones here, across the top of the shoulder blades, perhaps. Letting the shoulders be as they are, giving them some grace. Noticing the dominant arm, the shoulder of the dominant arm has a bit more muscle tension, or muscle tone, rather. Perhaps that arm is raring to go. To protect us, to communicate for us, to drive stick shift, whatever it may be. In this moment, as you're practicing a body scan, what is it to invite the shoulder of the dominant arm to give itself some grace, to let go of the readiness, of the vigilance, just be as you are in this moment. And before shifting the attention from the shoulders to the length of the upper arms, a sense of temperature here might be cooler on the outside, warmer where the arms are closer to, perhaps even touching the torso. And shifting to the elbows, noticing the insides of the elbows, the outsides. Before inviting the attention to listen in on the lower arms, the length of the bones here, any sense of tendons, muscle of the lower arms, a sense of the temperature perhaps of even the inside of the lower arms, noticing sensations from the inside out. Before shifting the attention to the wrists, tingling or pulsing on the insides of the wrist, perhaps feeling warmer on the insides than the outsides of the wrists. Before shifting the attention to the hands, allowing the hands to release, much like we may invite the shoulders to give themselves the grace to let go of their doing. What is it to invite the hands, both left and right, to just come into being? Before shifting the attention from the hands all the way up through the arms, through the wrists, through the elbows, through the shoulders, inviting the attention to be with the neck. Perhaps there's a sense of the bones at the back of the neck. Perhaps there's a sense of the space those bones take up. They are not flat bones. Perhaps just noticing, even if reclining, how they support the head, how the bones have dimensionality to them from the back of the neck into the space of the neck itself. The fronts of those bones not quite halfway through. In front of those bones are the windpipe, the esophagus. Sensing into this neck perhaps from the inside out. Maybe there's a bit of an ick factor here. Maybe there's curiosity. Just noticing what you notice. Tension or ease in the muscles of the neck from the inside out. Before shifting the attention to the tongue, wherever the tongue may be holding itself, tension or ease even in this muscle. There's an amount of tongue tension that is required for speech. If you are not currently speaking, what is it to notice? Any holding on? Any readiness? So too, the muscles of the lower jaw may be ready to aid us in calling out, to aid us in any gnashing of teeth that might be necessary. But in this moment of practicing the body scan, what is it to invite the attention to just notice tension or ease in these muscles of the lower jaw, noticing the length of the bone there between starting just in front of the ears, coming down to the tip of the chin. This bone hangs off of the head. Shifting the attention to the upper jaw and the roof of the mouth, and that distance perhaps between the back teeth of the upper jaw. Perhaps there is a sensation or an awareness of when the hard palate becomes the soft palate. Perhaps not. Just noticing what sensations are present, perhaps even above what we'll call the hard palate. Behind the nose and above the upper jaw would be the sinuses, noticing perhaps a sensation of inhaling and exhaling through these sinuses. Cooler on the inhale, perhaps warmer on the exhale. And before inviting the attention to the exterior of the face, there's temperature on the muscles of the cheeks, and tension or ease in the muscles on either side of the eyes, sides of the scalp. And checking in with the very crown of the head, noticing any sense of holding or gathering or releasing here. And before, as we moved through the body in this way, region by region, what is it to invite the attention? And to broaden, to be with the entirety of the body once again, the full length of the body from this crown of the head all the way down to the soles of the feet, the far left of the body to the far right, all the front of the body, the front of the face, the chest, the fronts of the legs, fronts of the lower legs, and that distance to the back of the body, the back of the lower legs, the back of the upper legs, back of the pelvis, the back of the back, the back of the head. Here is this full body in this environment, acknowledging the air to the left of you, to the right of you. And you can stay here for as long as you might have time for. And when you're ready to transition and close this practice, what is it to do so in a way that honors your intention? Perhaps beginning by tossing that coin of gratitude into one's own fountain. For taking this time to practice in this way. Offering oneself a deeper inhale and a lengthier exhale. When ready to open the eyes, if you've not already done so, noticing what's here now. What's here now for me is gratitude for you and your practice. And I'll stop the recording here.